Great.
Kudos to you.
Thank
You
you,
have
man.
balls for showing up today.
No one's naive about that. Come on.
There's some things that I've despised you for.
I beat the shit out of myself for that. Everyone who criticized me is goddamn right.
It seems like you're gearing up for maybe a presidential run.
Really? Really? Telling me that? Governor of California? I've never felt more outraged.
I understand what you're saying, but that is the narrative.
I'm Trump. You win.
You guys have any idea what the hell you're doing?
Enough. When's enough enough?
This is in
Oh,
California.
he's full of shit.
He's full of
Foolish. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Man, I don't know.
Come on.
Why do you think you're the target?
Well, everyone's a goddamn genius now in hindsight.
Really?
There's a Trump derangement syndrome, but there's also California derangement syndrome.
Really?
Before California.
How did your ex-wife wind up with Trump Jr.?
Good morning, Owasso. This is Chad with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Today we're going to talk about Shawn Ryan having Gavin Newsom on, which this is just part of Gavin Newsom's little press tour for him getting ready to try to run for president in the next 4 years. Because the Democrats have learned that a female person of color can't cut it. So now they're going back to tall, charismatic white guys that will say anything that they can get to get into power. And that is Gavin Newsom to a T. It's either going to be him or Beto O'Rourke at this point, because Bernie Sanders is too old, and he sold his soul down the river already in 2016 election, and he's been burning all his bridges on little podcast runs that he's going on right now. He's like, yes, you're right, the Democratic Party's corrupt. Yes, but so you threw your lot in with them? And then you've got Gavin Newsom right here, who's just ruining California, and he's going on all these podcasts, either bringing people on his podcast or going around doing a podcast tour right now, trying to do what Trump did in the final days of his election back in this last election cycle. And that's what's going on right now. So we're going to talk about what happened with Gavin Newsom on the Shawn Ryan podcast. And I like Shawn Ryan. I am subscribed to Shawn Ryan. I love watching his podcasts. But he is a veteran podcast guy. His podcast is literally like therapeutic for like veterans and guys that he went to and people who've gone to war with him. It's like it's great stories. It's them getting their life stories out there, their missions, the things that impacted them during their time in service. Great stuff. It's great stuff. It's emotional. It's cool stories, funny stories that you'll hear about from service members, which is what we try to do on our show here as well. But that's what he's known for. He's not known for being a hard-hitting political interviewer, which he really, really dropped the ball on this, I feel. He was very friendly with Gavin Newsom. Like I said, left-wing people don't come on right-wing people's shows, period. So this is like a shot in the dark for Shawn Ryan. So I think he did okay, but he did not hard hit. He should be lower like Joe Rogan. Like when he pulls up a data point, hit him on it. Go, pull that up. Pull that, like Joe Rogan. Pull that up, Jamie. Let's see that. Now, granted, you can get a website that's heavily biased or doesn't have the facts that you're looking for or has the wrong facts or whatever, but he needs to have something on there to push back because Gavin Newsom was allowed basically to say whatever the heck he wanted on that show. And Shawn Ryan didn't really push back a lot on him. He just kind of let him do his thing. It was a very friendly interview. But that's the thing. Shawn Ryan does not do heavy political journalism. He does interviews. He does very friendly veteran interviews. So this is kind of his first big political one at the moment. So we'll kind of get into this and we'll talk about all the lies and misinformation that Gavin Newsom has been spreading on his show. And we're going to start it off with him giving him, like Shawn Ryan always gives all of his guests a gun. So he gets Gavin Newsom a gun, so we're going to watch this real quick.
What if one simple chew could turn constant...
tries doing a trailer. I hate commercials. I do.
So I got to report this gift, man.
That is a California compliant 6 hour
This
Ep365 macro.
Come on, man.
I don't know exactly what makes it.
By the way, this is too cool. The fact that you would give me this.
You
can't
like
even
that?
look this up. So you just want me to TSA to take this from me and my ass is arrested at the airport. I'm on to you, man.
Well, I got a buddy at SIG, and now he was like, you got to get a SIG in his
You can't
hands.
even make
His
this
name's
up.
Jason.
Brother, this is fabulous. You know what? Last thing people would expect is that I respect this gift.
Really?
I appreciate, yeah, man. I'm not anti-gun at all. I'm for just some gun safe common sense that I think vast majority of folks on the right and the left agree. And I think we've lost a little touch with some common sense around background checks. I think there's an age appropriateness. I do have some, I'm challenged by large capacity magazine clips in urban centers and weapons of war that are out there, sometimes outgunning the police. And I've experienced that directly with the loss of a police officer who was gunned down by an AK-47. And the police...
Just watch how he is struggling shutting that gun case. He has never handled a gun case before. So first off, I say he respects that gift. I don't buy that for a second, and we're going to pull that up right now. Check this out. We'll start with this one first.
States Supreme Court to right-wing Republicans all across this country. Do you have no common decency, respect, or even common understanding that kids should not have one of these? This is an AR-15. This is a weapon of war, a weapon of mass destruction. But you're out there promoting and allowing marketing of these weapons of war to our kids, supporting and celebrating gun manufacturers who put up advertisements like the ones you see behind me. These are cartoon skulls with pacifiers in them. His and her pacifiers, cartoon skulls of children with pacifiers. This is what the right wing is marketing and promoting at the behest of the gun industry in this country. The good.
Since when did liberals become so obsessed with dead babies? Thought they were the pro-abortion party. Very strange.
News, if there's any, is that this ends at least today in California. I just signed a bill so the gun industry and those that are backing this industry can no longer market to our children. The idea we even have to do this is ridiculous. This law, by the way, goes in effect immediately because decent human beings, people with common sense, know that we should not be allowing this kind of disgusting marketing to go on another day. To members.
And then let's check this out. This little compilation of all his pro-gun rhetoric or respecting the Second Amendment.
A historic announcement that was just made by Governor Gavin Newsom. In an exclusive interview with the Today Show this morning, Newsom says he wants to propose a new 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
It would affect the entire country when it comes to gun control. If passed, it would restrict access to guns in all 50 states.
Gavin Newsom just did this.
Right now, Governor Newsom has several gun safety bills on his desk. And within just the last 60 minutes, he signed a law that will double taxes on gun and ammunition sales. The federal government already taxes the sale of guns and ammunition at either 10 or 11%, depending on the type of gun. The law signed today will add another 11% on top of that.
It's a pretty sick thing that we can just casually say it. And we do casually say that the number one killer of our kids is guns. And I'll be signing a bill that will allow Californians to sue irresponsible gun manufacturers and distributors. If you've been hurt or a family member is a victim of gun violence, you can now go to court and hold the makers of these deadly weapons accountable. It's always a weapon of mass destruction, isn't it? I mean, I get it. We can talk about the anomalous nature of this, and it certainly is. But what is also anomalous is the fact that there's a pattern here in the United States of America of these mass shootings that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, just free will. And maybe that should be the fundamental focus. Large capacity clips, just insane. There's no justification, period, full stop. It's insane. These people are perpetuating lunacy and should be ashamed of themselves.
But when you said the Second Amendment is
feels like it increasingly.
But there's many people in this country that support the Second Amendment
I support
and are lawful gun owners.
Yeah, I have great respect. I have no ideological opposition to someone reasonably and responsibly owning firearms and getting background checks and being trained and making sure their locks, their kid doesn't accidentally shoot themselves or a loved one. Absolutely not. Never suggested that. That's what they immediately do. Who wants to take away your guns? I just want to take away weapons of war that are illegal on the streets of California and should be illegal across the United States. I mean, just literally use common sense.
Newsom's entire political career has been dedicated to dismantling the Second Amendment piece.
He's not wrong, and that's Colin Noir right there. That was his little video compilation that he made up of Gavin Newsom absolutely hating the Second Amendment and hating guns. And two, why is it always that they always make laws where you can sue gun manufacturers? Why don't they make laws where, oh, someone hacked my computer, let's sue Mac and Apple, and let's sue Apple and Microsoft. Why don't they do that? Same with hammers or any other tools that you can kill somebody with. I'm going to sue the manufacturer of baseball bats because a man murdered somebody with a baseball bat one time. So we're going after big baseball right now. There's no other industry that they go after like this as hard as they do guns. And Gavin Newsom just proved that he does not like guns. He is literally going on a tour right now until he gets the presidential nomination of, hey, look, I'm moderate right now. Check me out. You want to vote for me, more conservative or right-leaning, people, because I'm pro-gun. Like, no, you're not. All you're doing is you're pretending like you're moderate for the primaries, and then once you get there, you're going to go completely hardcore left again, because he is all this. This is him being a chameleon. He is just as bad as Kamala Harris. He is a political chameleon. He just goes to whatever the crowd plays to. He is a populist candidate. He will go with whatever he thinks is popular, and then once he's in power, he's going to go right back to his progressive roots. He is a liar, and this just proved it. And we're just going to continue to go down the list of all his little lying and manipulations that he does this entire time. So the next one we have here is him talking about the riots, whereas we'll just start with this right now because I'm going to lose it.
We saw riots. I'm sure they're probably over-embellished.
Understatement.
There are videos and lots of things.
Yeah, there were a bunch of assholes that ordered Waymos, and they're jumping up and down, and there have been hundreds and hundreds of arrests. Didn't need the National Guard to be called in. Sitting there on horses with American flags, running through soccer fields, scaring kids. It's a weakness masquerading as strength. That's what I don't like about this son of a... And the images, you just see 3 blocks, you're like, oh my God, all of LA. I'm in the Reagan building, literally a couple blocks away. You don't even hear anything. You don't even know what's going on. The National Guard are there, but they can't engage. So our guys are arresting the protesters that are protesting the Guard. We're protecting the Guard. That's how absurd things got. They're testing executive boundaries to see how far they can go across the United States. Now they're so resourced that Donald Trump will have one of the largest private armies in the world.
What do you think Trump's doing wrong right now?
Okay. So let's start here with that. 3 blocks. It's like what J.D. Vance said to the lady that interviewed him. He's like, it was just one apartment complex. One apartment complex. Do you hear yourself right now? Same thing with this. Oh, it was just 3 blocks. 3 blocks. Protesters were burning and rioting and destroying things for 3 blocks. A block is not exactly tiny. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's not tiny either. They took over 3 blocks and were burning cars and rioting, destroying buildings, looting, and protesting. This is what's wrong with California. I said, you act like this is no big deal. If this is no big deal, what happened on January 6th was no big deal. There was substantially less damage done and violence done on January 6th than there was at this riot here. The only 2 people who died on January 6th were 2 Trump supporters. The cop that died like 2 days later from like a heart condition. Now, the left always tries to play it off like, oh, it was because of the riots. But there was no evidence of him getting hit or hurt at this riot where he just died right there on the spot. And the left pretended like they did. They literally made that whole narrative up of a police officer dying at January 6th. So this is the issue that we have right now, is he's lying again. Like, oh, no big deal. I could barely hear it from where I was. Just they oversold it. Like, no, they took over 3 blocks and were burning vehicles down in the street. This is ridiculous. The left always underplays the violence done by them every single time. But it's absolutely ridiculous. And then the next big one that we kind of had was him talking about the wildfires and saying, oh, it wasn't as bad as everyone played it off to be.
with him in the Air Force One, Northern California, went to Southern California, talked about Newsom needs to rake the forest. And everyone kind of laughed. And he called me, I'm not kidding. Hey, do you follow up on raking the forest? Yes, sir, Mr. President. We're doing the vegetation forest management. He goes, no, raking the forest. You got to call the president, I don't know, Finland or something. I said, no, we're definitely doing all the vegetation management. Said, no, raking. When he says it, he's not kidding.
Why are they not sending federal aid?
At least send some rakes. These fires, Camp Fire, the most deadly in California, started in federal lands. And this guy comes in and talks about raking.
When he's talking about raking the forest, I mean, he's talking about getting the dead debris.
No, he's talking about raking.
I was with the president of Finland.
So, can't judge a president for not knowing what exactly raking is. He knows that the debris, he knows that it needs to be cleaned up, and he just doesn't fully understand what's going on. But he's not wrong. It's like you need to rake the ground. Like you need to have fire breaks is basically what I think he was trying to get at right there. But he doesn't know. Trump is a city guy. Only people who live out in the country and tend their land regularly know what we're talking about. It's like, you know what a fire break is. When you come up on basically, it looks like a road. A fire break will look like a road. It's either sand, dirt, or rocks that separates two areas of a field or whatever. And that's a fire break. It's there to try to keep a fire. If a fire were to start, it keeps it from getting to the next section of the wood line. That's what this is. That's what he's talking about. He doesn't know, but that's the thing. How many times does someone get into a position and they have to talk about something that they don't know about? Probably pretty regularly in a position, especially like the president. And Gavin Newsom probably didn't know either. I guarantee you he didn't know. And he's acting like, President Trump, so dumb, so dumb. It's like, yeah, a guy who lives in the city, never worked the land or worked in a field before, it's absolutely ridiculous. But now we get to some more of this other stuff, and like Adam Carolla. Actually, we'll probably save this one for last because Adam Carolla just absolutely like ragdolls like Gavin Newsom. So we'll get to the next point, and it was just talking about like Charlie Kirk. When he went on with Charlie Kirk, I mean, this is him. This is Gavin Newsom going on a presidential press tour, basically, trying to get popularity to run for president for this next upcoming cycle. That's all this is. But check this out. This is Charlie Kirk and him in their debate. And Charlie Kirk destroyed Gavin Newsom, too. And it's by far his most popular show ever. Like, I think it's got over 1 million views, and it's the only one that has broke 1 million on his show.
How about the book ban stuff? On a serious note, 4,240 books or titles, libraries and schools are banned in 2023. Is that not, as a conservative?
Well, it depends. I mean, like, I think we can both agree pornography should not be taught to 9-year-olds.
Fair point.
Okay,
Fair.
so that's a book ban.
All right. Well, there were some other books.
Oh, no.
Bill O'Reilly's
that
book
was the
banned.
Moms for Liberty contention. Time out.
Yeah.
Like, I agree on Bill O'Reilly. The Moms for Liberty movement that you made a big thing of was just no porn to 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
We agree. So those books should be banned.
Well, okay.
So what we should do right now is every California school that has porn in their library should be kicked out.
Does that include the Bible?
Ban. Well, I wouldn't say the Song of Solomon is porn.
No, but I mean, some have made that point. Is that a fair point, or is it offensive?
I don't think that's fair
and as
at
a man
all.
of faith, and I deeply admire that about you.
Thank you.
Sincerely.
Yes, but no, I mean, again, the Song of Solomon is rather risque.
No, it's
but
very,
what we're talking about
but
in these books is not just the words, it's also the images. And again, your audience can look at the images themselves.
Okay.
It's highly graphic. But again,
it seems a banning binge. I mean, at next level, sort of cancel culture.
But why do you think moms are doing that? Do you think it's because they want to have mind control, or do you think that they have come across incident of highly provocative material?
I love moms, but this moms, I mean, we don't have to get into Moms for Liberty. It seems
you brought up the book bans,
deeply,
though. I mean,
deeply organized for a larger agenda, but that's my humble opinion.
No, but let me just, kind of complete the point. Is that it's easy to just call it kind of a book ban, but when you actually have to read some of these books, it will take your breath away of some of this stuff, right? You're like, okay, we're teaching a 10-year-old how to put a condom on.
I know. I just have a problem with, who the hell is going to decide that? Government? I mean, Ron DeSantis is going to decide what I can read or say in the boardroom, in the classroom?
This is the exercise of politics, though. Yeah. The exercise of politics is the highest form of community because it blends morality and sociability. So what we do is we have discussion and elections, and we have boards and commissions, right? And we as a people say, okay, no porn for 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that's politics, right?
Yep.
How about the book?
And again, he just plays it off as like, it's a book ban. Conservatives just want to ban books. It's like, no, they're banning the LGBTQ books that are literally teaching kids how to use dating apps and how to have how to have, I don't even know how to say this without like getting the YouTube censors on me, but how to have, let's just say, irregular sexual proclivities, how to use adult toys, how to put on, as he said, condoms. Why are you teaching children that? Why do children need to be taught that? It's sick. And then they play it off like, oh, they're just books. They're just books. No, half of the ones, all the ones that were on those lists had pictures and images of how to do these things. And cartoons. They were cartoons for children. We've shown this on our show several times. I don't know how many times we've brought up like the school boardroom meetings where they bring in the books that they want banned. And they're showing them, they go, you can't read that book here. That is inappropriate for this. That is illegal. You will be arrested if you read that book. Okay, so I'll get arrested if I read the book at a public school board meeting, but our kids are allowed to go check this book out at the school. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's all he's pretending. He's like, oh, they don't just want to ban those books. Like, okay, yeah, but like I said, parents have a say in what their kids can and can't do and read and see. If you don't want your kid playing video games all the time, you have a right as a parent to be like, we're not doing video games, or you can only play video games for an hour, whatever. It's like, I don't see Gavin Newsom come running. That is a violation of your rights. You are allowed to watch as much TV and video games as you want. I highly doubt he does that for his own kids. That means he oppresses his own kids on a regular basis. It's so stupid. The left is so evil. And then here's this next one, where this is actually from the show, and from Libs of TikTok, the little clip from Gavin Newsom can't answer if he thinks 8-year-olds should be able to get sex change surgeries. And this is true.
Years old, too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just became 9, come on, man, I get it. So those are legit. You know, it's interesting, just the issue of age. It's interesting. As someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly, LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage. Mm-hmm. The trans issue for me is also novel. It's over the last few years. I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else. Whole pronoun thing, trying to understand all of that. That was like the hell. I mean, all that stuff. I get it.
What about for your values? I mean, is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look,
didn't answer the question, completely avoided it, but that's what he did for a lot of stuff. He would just change the subject for a lot of these things, and Shawn Ryan, this is the problem I had, is Shawn Ryan kind of just let him do it, because when you're talking to a veteran that's trying to tell a story, you kind of let them go off on their tangents, because they're going to give you something good, like not a politician. A politician, you have to keep focused, because he's going to be trying to answer the question here, but then he moves the ball over here. He plays a little trick, and he's talking about something completely different over here now. That's what politicians do. They avoid and dance around the top subjects that they don't want to talk about. And you could tell he was very uncomfortable about that. That's one of the easiest things you guys is, don't you think that it's a little strange that, teachers are allowed to trans kids? And like, let's see here, like California law on transing kids. California law on transgender children. California code prohibits the basis of discrimination on gender expression, sexual orientation, or any other. So this is the law that we're talking about, that you can literally have someone's kid, like kid goes to school, the teachers can trans them without the parents' knowledge. This is the law that we're talking about. Gavin Newsom passed this law. He was okay with this law. So that means if you're not comfortable with your kid being trans or being whatever, the school has the right to take your kid away. That's Gavin Newsom's California. That's what's going on here. And that's why he danced around that topic. And Shawn Ryan should have hammered him on that question. Hammered him. But he just let it go away. Like, he did not hold his feet to the fire like at all. It was a very friendly interview. Very friendly interview. We'll get to the next one, another one with Charlie Kirk. This is one with his podcast with Charlie Kirk, and we'll get into this one as well.
One of the things we saw in the last couple of years that the Democrats completely ignored, and your side was basically not acknowledging it was happening, was the crisis that young people were experiencing.
Right.
That, I mean, it's the first time in America's history that a 30-year-old is going to have it worse off than their parents.
Right.
It's a breakdown of the social compact.
That's right.
They are the most alcohol addicted, most drug addicted, most suicidal, most depressed, most medicated generation in history.
Right.
And the message that was largely being fed to a lot of young people was lower your expectations. You're not going to have the same American dream that your parents would have. Mm-hmm. And we saw this as an opportunity, especially with young men. And again, this got ridiculed a lot by the press that, they're creating this manosphere thing. Look, they're half of the population and necessary for any society and civilization to succeed, which is to have both strong men and strong women.
Yeah.
And we went about that in a very unique and creative way. And again, the president became a cultural phenomenon, right, where no matter what you threw at this guy, he rose above it. And you would even have to give him credit. I mean,
100%.
based 700 years in federal prison, states tried to kick him off the ballot. I know you spoke out against it, but California did have a faction that tried to kick him off the ballot, right?
That's right.
And despite all of that, of course, being shot, and that was kind of the crescendo of all of it, he kind of became this figure of an American comeback story.
Yeah.
So he personified what a lot of young people, especially young men, wanted back in their politics, which was an ascendant rebel attitude against these institutions that have failed them so miserably.
Yep. And Gavin Newsom brought that up.
One of the things we saw in the last couple of years that the Democrats completely ignored
on the show. He would talk about that he literally stole Charlie Kirk's talking point. Now, you could say that's kind of a good thing because it shows that he's actually learning from the Democratic Party's mistakes, but he just said young people in his. He really didn't really hammer down on young men. I believe he said young men at some point, but he just said young people. He was mainly focusing on young people because he still has that progressive mentality mindset of we can't just say young men, where it really is just young men struggling because more women go to college than men. Women are making more money than men regularly now. And as I show with the housing market stuff all the time, houses are not affordable. Houses are quadruple, the cost of what it was back in the 80s now. And the price of how much we make is what I say is $75,000 is the average income now, yearly income. And the average house now is over just shy of $500,000. So $400,000. Whereas back in the 80s, your income was at 30,000, 35,000 average household income. And a house was only $80,000. The average home was $80,000. Within the span of a few years, you can pay your house off. Whereas now, you have to be you have to have a loan for decades now just to be able to pay off your home. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And we're just pretending young people just need to work harder. It's no. We've been sold an unfair work value incentives program here from the government, and the government keeps importing people to keep property values high for the people who own all this property, because illegals will come in, buy up the houses. There are more people than houses. Again, if our birth rates are stagnant or declining, houses would be cheap, homes would be cheap, but they keep importing massive amounts of immigrants to come to our nation to keep property values high. That's all this is. This is the old generation trying to keep their property values high. Because the moment that we have a stagnant or declining birth rates, you're going to see housing prices just disappear. There will be a crash of value in property market if the population stagnates or starts to decrease. That's why deporting all these illegal immigrants is such an important thing right now. You actually have your children be able to have an affordable home. Loans would come down. Everything would go down if we would get rid of all the illegals in the nation and all the other immigrants that are just here on green cards and stuff. Get them out. Everything will become super cheap. All right, let's get to the next segment over here.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Kennedy, I respect. Tulsi Gabbard.
Why are you laughing? Why are you smiling?
Because like they're on our team now. Because you guys kicked out like your best people. It's like the people that were into. This is a great point, though, Governor. Is that Bobby Kennedy was a heterodox opinion on a thing that a lot of people were concerned about. Get him out. He's an anti-vaxxer. Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard, who is an anti-war. Get her out. She's a Russian agent. Yeah. You guys see how you have an unhealthy purification process where eventually you're left with just a 31% approval rating and a bunch of people that are talking to each other. And meanwhile, we're the ones that have Democrats in our cabinet winning the electoral majority vote, because there needs to be said, if Democrats are serious about being a majority party ever again, look at that ideological diversity. We have people that, geez, they want to go to war with every country that says something bad against us. And then we have people that are far more dovish, like Rand Paul. But that is a better, more, dare I say, diverse picture. You could say diversity is our strength.
The way he finished it. You can say diverse. By the way, he was about to react to it, and I can't see what he does next. But no, I mean, look, I'm so happy that Governor Newsom decided to have Charlie Kirk on, that we got a chance to see this. Good for him. I think this is actually good. Look, don't get me wrong. I can say all this stuff about the fires and, California, net migration, all this stuff. But for him to have the audacity to invite Charlie on, got to respect it. It made for great conversation. We need more of this.
You admire out there right now?
Now, 100% true. 100% true. He's great that he's having conservatives on, and it's great that he's actually going out and going on a conservative podcast. But that was him, again, taking Charlie Kirk's advice. Why do we have Democrats switching sides to our party, but there are no prominent Republicans jumping ship to go over to the Democrats? There's not any. This is the problem. And half those video campaigns that they made of those people I voted for a Republican all my life. Then Donald Trump came along and now I'm a Democrat. They found that all those people were paid actors that were Democrats all along. There's nobody out there that's willing to put their feet to the fire to say oh yeah, I was a Republican and I don't want to vote for Donald Trump anymore. There's nobody that they could find that would willingly do that. And there's no prominent figures jumping ship from the Republicans to the Democrats. But speaking of that fire, I forgot, we talked about this before. Gavin Newsom straight up lied about that, about the fires and what was going on there. I will actually pull this up on the bigger screen over here, but this is from our show. A while back, I think back, let's see when this is. Yeah, 5 months ago. This is 5 months ago on one of our shows. Look at it, episode 300 right there. Straight up, they catch Gavin Newsom in a lie right here. This is why I cannot stand these people.
Well, it's amazing how easily he can lie, how easily lying comes to him. It's like me and even little kids. It's like you can just see by the mannerisms, the way they speak. This guy is such a seasoned liar that it just comes naturally to him. It's he's lied so much he doesn't know what the truth is.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, let's check this out. He literally lies to this reporter right to his face. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I called for him to come out, take a look for himself. We want to do it in the spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist. He's the president-elect. I respect the office. We have a president of the United States that within 36 hours provided a major disaster declaration over a text. We had support from the president of the United States, Joe Biden, with 100% reimbursement, all the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt in reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to as it relates to the Delta and somehow connecting the Delta smelt to this fire, which is inexcusable.
If that reporter had not brought that up, he wouldn't have mentioned it
to anyone that understands water policy.
You can tell by the way he was talking, I mean, and then just a lateral move. Oh, well, that wasn't a state.
Yeah, so basically right there, he blamed it on Karen Bass. So even if that's true, he goes, oh, all mine, all the one that the governor's in charge of were filled. He literally just said, okay, well, it's Karen Bass's fault. She's the mayor of L.A. So one of these two is incompetent, or they both are.
I say they both are, man. I mean, Gavin Newsom's a weasel. I mean,
Again, look at him. He looks like a used car salesman. As someone once said, he looks like Count Chocula. Yep. But that's what we're talking about. Right there. Gavin Newsom is a lying scumbag. He will say and do anything to win and gain political power. He is a bad person. Then let's hear this. This is him talking about the ICE raids and how bad they are.
He speaks perfect English, was born here, in school still. Every time he tried to talk, he broke down. And so much that he lost his mom and dad yesterday. I said, what do you mean lost them? He says, well, they've disappeared. Ripped out of the car in the parking lot of the same place they've gone for 20 plus years. He didn't even know how to get back in the house. Didn't even know how to clean his clothes or cook his food. The hell is that? To his credit, a day later, Trump said, oh, we need to protect those people. But then his actions continue to contradict it. And they continue to go out randomly on the streets, going after law-abiding citizens, including American citizens, people with green cards. He was in MacArthur Park with these National Guard, these heroes, being used as pawns for theater. Damn Blackhawks overhead in the middle of the day while kids were in soccer camp. They didn't make one arrest. There is a way of addressing this issue. Go after the criminals, man.
How do you determine who's a criminal, though, when a lot of these people don't have any record?
You're right. I mean, we don't know who's a criminal that's not in our system. But for me, it's dangerous people. It's felons. There's a 16-year-old boy, just tears running down.
There you go. They don't know. We don't know. First off, if they came here illegally, they're already a felon. First off. Two, if you don't do anything illegal, if you came here legally, you don't have anything to worry about. Unless, of course, you've violated some law, then you have something to worry about. But that's what he does. Like, he goes, why are they protecting this? Like, we're talking about this guy was promoting this guy is the same guy promoting child slavery right now. Let me see if I can't pull up. I had those pulled up somewhere. But I had an article pulled up where he is berating J.D. Vance for going on vacation while he just had a ICE raid happen with CPS at a weed facility where they found children there that were basically slave labor. There are children there for slave labor. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then he has the balls to be like, Trump doing these ICE raids is just awful. I can't believe he would do something like this. Like, really? We've got human trafficking. We've got child trafficking. And you're just like, I can't believe they're separating families. What did those parents do? The questions you're not asking here is, what did those parents do that warranted getting arrested? Were they felons? Did they have violent criminal past? Were they abusing children? You don't know. You just know, oh, they separated him from his parents. Again, if there is an American citizen that commits a crime and they have a family, they have a child, they get separated from that child. You're going to get arrested. You're going to go to jail. This guy is a scumbag. He doesn't know anything about what's going on, but he's going to promote this crap like, hey, he's a bad guy, you know? There it is. I just found my article right there. There's my other article. Boom. Let's see here. Yep. Let's pull this up real quick. There we go. All right. Pull up this article too. No, thank you, please. Okay. From Gavin Newsom. Hope you enjoy your family time at J.D. Vance. The families you are tearing apart certainly won't. Vice President J.D. Vance in Bayou Country at Disneyland. At Bayou Country at Disneyland. So if he's at Disneyland, it must be in California because Disney World is Florida. So what a piece of crap, first off. And then we have this article right here. Minors among suspected illegal immigrants detained after clash at California farm. It was not a farm. It was a weed facility. It was a weed. They were picking. It was a weed facility, y'all. It was a weed farm. Farmers were badly injured after immigration raid at California marijuana farm, during which about 200 people, including 10 minors, were detained, according to the union. The UFW can confirm that the farmer workers were critically injured yesterday during a chaotic raid in the Ventura County, California. Others, including U.S. citizens, remain totally unaccounted for. The United Farm Workers said in a statement Friday night. The union reported one death among the workers at first, but then said the death was not confirmed. So, no confirmed deaths. The chaos erupted outside Glass Farmhouse in Camarillo on Thursday as protesters confronted federal agents in an attempt to stop the raid. Tear gas was fired to keep the protesters, and National Guard troops with guns and gas masks tried to keep the demonstrators from accessing the indoor farm. Federal officials said that the protesters fired what looked like pistols at federal agents, and is not clear where the juveniles are from, but Customs and Border Protection boss Rodney Scott said that the youngest was 14. So, here are some breaking news. The 10 juveniles were found at the marijuana facility. Illegal alien, 8 of them unaccompanied, wrote on X on Friday, is now under investigation by child labor violations. The age of the person who died was not reported. The protesters streamed the clashes live on one video showing a teenage boy crying that his mother had been taken. U.S. officials shared the video of what looked like a man firing a weapon at federal agents and had been offered a $50,000 reward to help them find the convict and convict the suspect. Federal officers rescued at least 10 immigrant children from what looks like exploitation, forced child labor, and potential human trafficking or smuggling. The Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement, during the operation, a violent agitator fired a gun at our brave officers. Marijuana is legal and regulated in California. This enforcement was about the workers, not the product. Yeah. So 2 Glass House marijuana farms were raided simultaneously in Camarillo and Carpinteria, both among California's Central Coast farmland north of Los Angeles. Glass House was a post on X that it complied with immigration officers. Workers were detained and were assisting to provide them with legal representation, the company said. Glass House has never knowingly violated application hiring practices and does not and never has never employs minors. The UFW, Union of Farm Workers, said that it was aware of the reports about minors found at the farm. Farm workers are excluded from basic child labor laws. Let's see here, from child labor laws, and is unfortunately not uncommon for teenagers to work fields. To be clear, detaining and deporting children is not the solution for child labor, a statement from the union said. California, particularly Los Angeles County, has been in the central daily immigration raids since Trump's president to deploy National Guard troops, the U.S. Marines, to Los Angeles last month to protect federal immigration agents. While many Americans support President Trump's tough immigration policies in Southern California, they have caused palpable fear in immigrant communities, with many migrants hiding in their homes, too afraid to go to work or grocery stores. Which, hey, if they're breaking the law, they should be. Criminals being afraid of laws being enforced is a good thing. The fact that we always somehow get around that to where people don't think that that's a good thing is so stupid to me. It's so stupid. And then, too, so you have this guy crying about kids being torn from their parents while their parents are promoting slave labor, or are probably a part of a slave labor group. Maybe the parents are being forced to pay back the coyotes that smuggle them across the border. We don't know, but guess what? You're breaking the law. You put your child in that dangerous situation. You are a bad parent. This is the problem. The left does not look at it that way. They just go, oh, these innocent baby angel Aladdins that need to be protected and need to be given free stuff constantly. No, this is not how this works. You can't put your child in a dangerous situation and say that you're a good parent. So stupid. So stupid. And Gavin Newsom only talks about, like, he is the lefty. He is a progressive leftist, just talks about the fact that, oh, these poor people, they need our help. It's like, no, they don't need our help. They're breaking our laws and they need to be punished for it. But getting back to the last one, this goes to show you how long this guy has been a piece of crap. How long Gavin Newsom has been a piece of crap. This is from Adam Carolla's show. This is like 12, 15 years ago. This is a clip that somebody else uploaded, but this is from Adam Carolla's show where he just absolutely ragdolls Gavin Newsom about race. People saying that people of certain races can't get checking accounts. And he's like, what? It's great. Just check this out. According to this is 12 years ago.
I want everybody to plan, look down the road 6 months. Yes, your husband lost his job. That's why you need to sock away some money when he's gainfully employed. Yes, they foreclosed on your home. That's why you need to have a network, a community, friends, family members, money put away.
I got it, but think about it.
Don't have the kids.
Half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families, have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a checking account.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Well, why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't. Where do they
why
end
do
up?
Armenians have them?
But where they end up is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those
lenders
groups, why those two groups don't have access.
Well, a lot of it just happens to be that we can
so
talk
they're
about.
Flawed?
This. No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
their work. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay,
not.
do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh,
but
so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but
why
I'm
did
giving
you bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the
magnitude.
Magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to them?
There are a lot of issues, and that the communities are struggling. A lot
why
of new
are they
immigrants.
struggling?
A lot of different reasons. Lack of
Hispanics
opportunity.
have been here. Blacks have been here longer than we've been here.
Well, we can surmise.
What about Asians? They were put in internment camps.
Yeah, in fact, it all initiated out of San Francisco, and
all right.
the Chinese Exclusion Act came out
of
progressive San Francisco.
Are they the check cashing
A lot
places?
of Asians certainly do.
Oh, so why don't you conclude them?
The only reason why is the magnitude.
There's
the problem.
So many more.
The magnitude in percentage.
But there's
terms
no way to figure out how that happened.
Africa. We could talk about. You know what I'm dealing with? I don't want to have a sociological debate.
Sure, why would you?
No, here's why.
Why would you want to do that? Because the person from the Times wouldn't write good things about you if
God,
you did that.
No, that's not the case because I want to deal with reality. No.
You want to deal with reality.
I want to deal with the reality of people
is.
that are struggling, people are suffering. I want to deal with the problems in a pragmatic way.
Why are they struggling and
I don't want
suffering?
an idea. We can hold hands and surmise about all these underlying reasons.
I don't want to do that. I want to know why they're struggling.
The
why are they struggling?
A lot of folks are struggling because they can't find jobs.
Why blacks and
because
Hispanics?
They're working.
Why blacks and Hispanics?
Across the board, all socioeconomic.
Okay, so everybody.
Everybody's struggling.
So Asians are suffering just as much as blacks.
The face of welfare is not an African American family.
So it's Asian, Jewish, it's all of them.
Caucasian. It's a lot of
so
folks
we're all
in society.
struggling.
A lot of folks are struggling.
Okay.
For more of Adam Carolla, go to adamcarolla.com.
Adam Carolla absolutely ragdolled him like 12 years ago. This guy is not good. He's not a good debater. He's not a good person. He'll lie, cheat, and steal, do whatever it takes to get what he wants to get into power. But, I mean, that was the problem. It was like Shawn Ryan needed to go harder and heavier on him. He did good. It was a good interview. It was 4 hours long. Longest interview Shawn Ryan, I think, has ever done in his career since starting podcasting. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that he allowed him to get away with some of those things. He needed to have, unfortunately, because I don't like Jamie all that much, but he needed to have, a Joe Rogan's Jamie there to help pull him out of those little situations that were like, hey, we need to hammer him more on this because he lied about this. You need to bring up those things. You need to bring up, well, here's the thing. If he had a compilation of videos about him being super anti-gun after he's pro-gun, that would have been great. But he was trying to be friendly. They're never going to get another left-wing person to come on a right-wing podcast ever again if you're mean to them all the time, but he needed to have his feet held to the fire. So Shawn Ryan could have done better. He did really good, but he could have done a lot better. But that's really all I've got for today, just showing the hypocrisy of Gavin Newsom and the fact that he is going to be running for president. He will be their guy. It's right now the two front runners are him and AOC. And I don't think that they will go with another woman of color again after the poor Kamala Harris showing in the last election. So I think it probably will be Gavin Newsom, or maybe they'll bring Beto O'Rourke out of nowhere again and try to run him for president. But him and Gavin Newsom are basically interchangeable at this point. But That's really about all I've got for today. This is Chad with Owasso Live. This was The Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's pretty much all I've got for today. I'll see you all in the next one. God bless you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.
I was watching Newsom, and Newsom was giving a speech on the homeless. He's disgusted, by the way, by this situation.
Time to do your job. People are dying on their watch. Dying on their watch.
He is absolutely appalled, but this is more performative confidence he's doing. He's the cause of the homeless problem, really, essentially. But here he is the other day.
How do people get reelected? People are dying. I'm not interested in funding failure anymore. I'm not.
He keeps talking about people dying. I thought it was a mother of two who had a full-time job and just got divorced. She's ODing? He told me it was a mother of two that was on the street. That was the real face of homelessness. So I don't know who these people who are dying.
I met a young man, literally, was out there doing Project Homeless Connect, reaching out near the 405 freeway. I found out the next day he was dead in the name of compassion.
Yeah, he talked to a kid. It breaks his heart because that kid died the next day because he's a junkie and he lives on the streets and he took fentanyl.
They need to step up. Enough of the rhetoric. I'm serious. Enough of the rhetoric. People are dying in this state. It is a disgrace. It is one of the principal reasons people are so angry. They don't trust politicians. They don't like what they see. I'm sorry to get so intense about it. It's a moral issue. They need to do their job. And if they can't do it, let me know.
Yeah, he's trying to pretend like he's normal and also not responsible for all the stuff he's responsible for, because when he was in here, I don't know, 12 years ago, I told him, fix this problem. It's a big problem. It's insane people and junkies. And then he told me it was moms. Look, he's a fucking failure. Why in the last 10 minutes did Gavin Newsom become a normal person? Because he just saw what happened to Kamala, his buddy from San Francisco. She got destroyed because nobody wants to woke shit anymore. So he stopped dispensing woke bullshit and started selling another form of that people find more digestible. And that's what we're seeing now as he gets ready to run for president. Then once he becomes president, he can revert back to the woke and then ruin the whole country versus just the state of California. I was watching